اللهم أخرجنا من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمنا بنور الفهم وافتح علينا بمعرفة العلم وسهل أخلاقنا بالحلم واجعلنا ممن يستمعون القول فيتبعون أحسنه. اللهم اجعل أعمالنا خالصة لوجهك ولا تجعل فيها حظا لغيرك. وصل اللهم على سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How's everyone today? Alhamdulillah. We were busy with Surah Mulk. We ended on verse number 80. We'll continue from there inshallah. I don't know if everybody's cycling today or what. Anyways, we'll continue. We ended on verse number 8 of Surah Mulk. I'll just we'll continue from there. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ولقد زينا السماء الدنيا بمصابيح وجعلناها رجوما للشياطين وأعتدنا لهم عذاب السعير وللذين كفروا بربهم عذاب جهنم وبئس المصير إذا ألقوا فيها سمعوا لها شهيقا وهي تفور تكاد تميز من الغيظ كلما ألقي فيها فوج سألهم خزنتها ألم يأتكم نذير. That's the applicable way we got, right? So we said Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first spoke about, His exaltedness and His blessings, and then certain of His creations, that He created life and death, some abstracts. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke about the creation of the heavens, and we moved, as I mentioned before, we moved from looking at it from a physical perspective to looking at it from a perspective that's not perceptible to our eyes, right? Where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَقَدْ زَيَّنَّا السَّمَاءَ الدُّنْيَا بِمَصَابِيحَ. We see that. We see the beauty of the stars in the sky. We know there's a reality beyond them, but then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions a purpose of those stars beyond what our eyes can see. وَجَعَلْنَاهَا رُجُومًا لِلشَّيَاطِينِ وَأَعْتَدْنَا لَهُمْ عَذَابَ السَّعِيرِ وَلِلَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا بِرَبِّهِمْ عَذَابُ جَهَنَّمَ وَبِئْسَ الْمَصِيرِ. But now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to look at that qudra in light of something. Allah is not just randomly mentioning the fact that He is has ability over all things, He has power over all things. Allah is not just mentioning that disconnected from a message, right? It's important to know that in and of itself, yes, right? Because in knowing that, we know more about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in addition to having us know that, He mentions that message in a context. That context is that as human beings, we journey through this life of ours. As the surah opened, there's a cycle of death and life. We journey through this life of ours, knowing that we will meet a consequence in the next life. The consequence can be good, the consequence can be bad. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has the ability and power to mete out both of those consequences, or to fulfill both of those consequences. The first consequence that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to mention to us is that of punishment. And Allah mentions it to us nadhiran, as a warner, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions it to us so that we can take precaution against it, right? It's and like we said, that idea of Allah as warning us is also an expression of love, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us or making us understand that we need to take precautions against falling foul of the hellfire. So in that discourse, we continue. We're looking at Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's power, His might, and also His forgiveness in light of this reality of the consequences for our actions that we do in life. The first one we started with was the hellfire, where Allah says, وَلِلَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا بِرَبِّهِمْ عَذَابُ جَهَنَّمَ وَبِئْسَ الْمَصِيرِ إِذَا أُلْقُوا فِيهَا. And Allah very vividly describes this hellfire. Allah says, إِذَا أُلْقُوا فِيهَا سَمِعُوا لَهَا شَهِيقًا وَهِيَ تَفُورُ. When those disbelieving people are cast into the hellfire, you will hear the hellfire giving out a terrible sound whilst it boils over. تَكَادُ تَمَيَّزُ مِنَ الْغَيْظِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala almost personifies this fire as if the fire almost rips itself apart out of its rage. كُلَّمَا أُلْقِيَ فِيهَا فَوْجٌ سَأَلَهُمْ خَزَنَتُهَا أَلَمْ يَأْتِكُمْ نَذِيرٌ. Whenever a group is cast into the hellfire, the keepers of the hellfire ask that group, did a warner not come to you? The purpose of the question, did a warner not come to you? The question is, how on earth did you end up here? Didn't somebody come to you telling you about all of these things? Warning you about all of these things? So what would the response be? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to mention. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قَالُوا. Literally means, they said. Who is the they? In the context, what we have here now? We have people being cast into the hellfire, and we're having the keepers of the hellfire question them. Right? كُلَّمَا أُلْقِيَ فِيهَا فَوْجٌ. Whenever a group is cast into it, whenever a party is cast into it, what party? فَوْجٌ مِنَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. A group of those disbelieving people. سَأَلَهُمْ خَزَنَتُهَا. Khazana. What did I say khazana is? Khazana means keepers. If you see a word in this form, fa'alatun, and I think I might have mentioned this last week. What kind of word is that? Okay, not ism fi'al harf. You should be able to see that that's the ism, right? Khazanatun, that ends with yeah, it doesn't end with the tanween, but yeah, it's a ism. It doesn't fall on one of your scales or so, right? It might look very similar to one khazanatu, but you don't know one like that, believe me. It's an ism. But what does it mean? If you see a word like this, this is one of the plural forms of an ismul fa'il. A plural form of an ismul fa'il. Like, you have, for example, you have hafidun. Somebody who preserves or protects. Hafidun. What's the plural of hafidun? We know the one huffaz, but actually a more correct one would be hafadatun. Nasirun. I think you can do the same with that as well. Nasara. If you have an ismul fa'il, you want to make it plural. One of the plural forms of an ismul fa'il is this form here, fa'alatun. So khazanatun is a plural of the word khazinun. Khazinun. Why I'm telling you that is, in Arabic we've come to see that many things have scales. Almost everything is on a type of a scale. So if you identify those scales, or if you know meanings of scales, then when you come across a word, even though you may not have looked the word up, or nobody ever told you the meaning of the word, or you didn't read it in a translation or anything like that, you can formulate the understanding of that word because you know the template that the word is on. Right? So for example, if you see another word now on that form, a noun of that form, fa'alatun, you should know it is a plural of an active particle, a plural of a ismul fa'il. Right? Sa'alahum khazanatuha. Whenever a group is cast into the hellfire, its keepers, meaning the keepers of the hellfire, ask them, those people, Alam ya'tikum nadir? Did a warner not come to you? Qalu. They said, who's the they? The disbelievers, right? That will cast into the hellfire. Qalu. You said they said, right? They said. But what are we speaking about here? We're speaking about the hellfire, right? So we'll say, they will say. But we know that the word is in past tense for rhetorical benefit, right? As if this is a done deal. It will happen like this. It is inevitable that a group will be cast into hellfire and they will be asked. And they will say, there's no doubt that it will happen. The question is just, will I be part of them, will I not be part of them? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us from being part of them in any way, shape or form. قالوا, they will say, Bala. Bala means what? So, Bala is a positive response to a negative question. So do you see, what was the question before this? Alam ya'tikum nadhir. Ata ya'ti means to come. Ya'ti nadhirun means I wanna came. Lam ya'tikum nadhir. I wanna did not come. Alam ya'tikum, did I wanna not come to you? Do you see that's a negative question? The not over there. Did I wanna not come to you? The lam makes it negative. So we now want to say, give a positive response to a negative question. Then you say bala. So it means, I don't know, I think it actually means like no, but in affirmation. No, I wanna did come. Yes, but that bala is written differently. Question was, doesn't bala also mean test? That's from the verb bala yablu. This is a particle here. It's a harf. But you are correct. But that word bala is ba, lam, alif, and then hamza. Bala'un. Oh yeah, you can translate it as yes also. Alam ya'tikum nadhir, did the one not come to you? Qalu, they will say bala, certainly. قد جاءنا نذير. قد جاءنا. What does قد mean? What does قد do when it comes before past tense verb? It has the meaning of tahqiq. When you want to say something did happen. And you can hear, I can say like, I can say he hit me. Or I can say he did hit me. That emphasis on that did, that's what qad does. That's what we call tahqiq, to assert that something did happen. قالوا بلى قد جاءنا نذير. Certainly, I don't want to say certainly because I translated bala certainly, but you catch my drift, right? It's there for emphasis, or to make tahqiq, to say that, to affirm that something did happen. قد جاءنا. جاء means to come. Who's the fa'il of جاء? Who's the fa'il of جاء? Not na? It's not the na. Why is it not the na? I know the fa'il is the na if it's preceded by a sukoon. This one not preceded by a sukoon. Ja'a na. So that's going to be ma maf'ulun bihi. Who's the fa'il? How do you look for the fa'il? Eli. Ja'a is standard. Where do you look next to the left? What's in the left? The na is like attached to it. Nadhirun. Right, and what hal is nadhirun in? Raf'un. Can it be my fa'il? Yes, it is. قد جاءنا نذير. Yes, نذير means what? أيونا. أيونا came to us. جاء na نذير. أيونا came to us. Certainly أيونا did come to us. فكذبنا. What does it fa mean? So, right? كذبنا. What does that mean? Is now the fa'il there or what? Who's the fa'il of كذبنا? My question is the na the fa'il here? Yes, it is. What's it preceded by? A sukoon. Right. So that one is the fa'il. فكذبنا. Why I'm pointing at this with the ja'ana, the na is not the fa'il. It's not preceded by a sukoon. With the kadhabna, it is the fa'il. You can say it's preceded by a sukoon. Just to try and inculcate good practice. فَكَذَّبْنَا. So we denied or we belied. Kadhiba means to lie. Kadhaba means to make someone a liar, basically to deny them, to belie them. فَكَذَّبْنَا. We denied. وَقُلْنَا. وَقُلْنَا. And we said, is the na the file? Yes. You can see the na is also preceded by sukun, right? وَقُلْنَا. And we said, مَا نَزَّلَ اللَّهُ مِنْ شَيْءٍ إِنْ أَنْتُمْ إِلَّا فِي ضَلَالٍ كَبِيرٍ. What did they say? مَا نَزَّلَ اللَّهُ. نَزَّلَ يُنَزِّلُ. Which bab is this on? Yeah. You guys did the second one, right? So this is the second one. Did I only do the second one? Okay, this is the second one. How would the scale sound? نزل ينزل تنزيلا منزل منزل نزل لا تنزل. And what's the connotation of this bab? Okay, sometimes it emphasizes something, or like it shows intensity in action. For example, qatala means to kill, qattala means to like massacre, right? Okay, but what's another meaning or another connotation? Possibly the more common one. It's to make a word transitive, or you can say causality. So, like I said, if the first bab means something, then the second bab will often mean to make someone do that something. For example, something is hasuna, something is beautiful. Hassana will mean to make something beautiful, or to adorn or beautify something. Another example. What do you have here? Like kadhaba also similar thing. Okay, yeah, nazala is an example. Nazala means to descend. Nazala means to make something descend. Right? So the second bab has that connotation of causality. Okay. But however, nazala means to descend. Nazala means to descend, to go from a high place to a low place. Nazala, to cause something to go from a high place to a low place. But when we're speaking about revelation, because the source is Allah, we don't speak about place. It's not a spatial concept, so we don't speak about space. We just understand it to mean to make, to know, to cause to know, or to reveal. Right? So what was their statement? The statement of the disbelievers. قالوا بلى قد جاءنا نذير. Certainly a warner did come to us. فكذبنا, but we denied, or we belied him. وقلنا, and we said ما نزل الله. Nazala means to, like I said, to send down or to reveal. Ma nazala, to not reveal. When you have a ma before past tense verb, it negates it, right? So ma nazala Allah, Allah did not reveal, and Allah is obviously the fa'il. Ma nazala Allah, Allah did not reveal. Min shay'in. What does that mean? Literally, give me literally. Min, from shay'in, a thing. But that min is therefore not to show place again from, but rather to show tab'id at all. Ma nazzala Allahu min shay'in. Allah did not send anything. That min is almost extra, but the understanding that we have of it is that it makes the shay mean anything. So the claim of the disbelievers that they will or what the disbelievers will say when they cast into the hellfire, and the keepers of the hellfire asked him, did a warner not come to you? They will say, no, a warner did come to us. But the problem was, we denied the warner, and we said Allah didn't reveal anything. Allah did not reveal anything. Why? Because that's the claim of a messenger. That's the claim of the warner. The warner comes to you. We're speaking the warner here in the form of a messenger. The messenger's claim is what? I have a message from Allah. I have a message from Allah. That's the claim of every prophet or every Rasul. So the disbelievers will admit on that day that we said that they were lying. Allah did not reveal anything. In antum illa fi dalalin kabirin. In antum. What does that mean? What does that in mean? That in is for negation. That in means not for negation. Now tell me, how do I know? You've come across in before, right? How many meanings do you know for in? In. If, you know, it can mean if. Right? You know that meaning for in? Sometimes it can be a harfu shart. Can mean if. Okay, what other meanings do you know for it? Sometimes in can be in mukhaffafa. It can mean indeed, particle emphasis. Okay, what else? And here, what does it mean over here? Not. It's a particle of negation. But now, how do you know when it means not? When it's a particle of negation? Look what is followed by. But not immediately. When it's followed by illa. When it's followed by illa, then you know it's for negation. Right? And what do the two, when they come together, what do we understand from them? Illa is usually a harful istithna, or it's used to make an exception. The class left except Daniel. Right? I'm excluding him from a group. I'm making an exception. But when illa comes after in, then it's a particle used to express restriction. Restriction. So when I have in plus illa, I can translate it as not and then except later, or I can just translate it as only. I can translate the two together as only. O-N-L-Y, only. Right? They make ifadat al-hasr. In terms of our understanding, it restricts the sentence. So we'll see how that looks in translation now. So if you want to make a note of that, you say in plus illa equals only. Right? So how do you mean? In antum illa. You are not except fi harful jar, in, and then what's the ism majroor? The thing that comes after the fi, always, that's going to be halul jar. Dalalin. What are you in? Dalal. Okay, let's just translate it as astrayness, or error if you want. Kabirin. What kind of construction do we have there between dalalin and kabirin? Correct? What's it? Two words next to each other. They end the same. Right? And they end in all of the four qualities of the words. Mawsoof sifa. Mawsoof sifa. You can see if you look very quickly, they agree in gender, both of them are masculine. They agree in encasing, both of them are in halatul jar. They agree in number, both of them are singular. They agree in definiteness, both of them are indefinite. So we have a jar, Mawsoof sifa construction. Okay, but before we take our minds off the in and the illa, so how am I going to translate this? I can translate it literally as you are not except in great astraneness or great error. Or I can translate it as you are only in great error or astraneness. So just understanding, what does the word dalal mean? We said, okay, error, astraneness. But if you want a more literal understanding of the word dalal, it means to be lost. It means to be lost. Right? So, like we always say, these Arabic roots have imagery attached to them. So the image that would be attached, like the image that I keep in my mind of dalal is that of like a forest in the night. There's a pathway. Dalal is when you've lost the path and you can't find your way back. But who's saying this now? This is what the disbelievers will say in the hellfire. When they're in the hellfire, they will say, this is what we told the messengers. We told the messengers that Allah didn't reveal anything to you. You people, the messengers, are only in clear or great astraneness. You lost. This was their claim to the messengers. Now, it's not a claim that it gets restricted to the messengers. Yes, obviously, in this context, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is showing what the disbelievers will say the response was to the messengers. But the reality is that that's not something that's ended. The followers of the messengers get the same claim leveled at them. For example, if you look at us in the time that we live in, what do we take as our manual for like everything basically? We take the Quran. What is the Quran? The Quran is revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We believe whatever the Quran says. We believe if the Quran says there was a fire, a huge fire, that Ibrahim alayhi salam was thrown into and the fire didn't burn him, we believe it. We believe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says the stars serve a function of casting out devils. We believe it. It's something I can't perceive. We can't empirically test it. We can't subject it to a scientific method. It's not even perceptible to our senses. Right? But we believe it all the same. And what do most disbelievers claim about us? About the religious people? It's as if we following fairy tales, or we the ones that are lost, and we are the unenlightened. In fact, the philosophical term for when people became more, or for the period in which people became more dependent on science, etc., was the Enlightenment. They call it the Enlightenment period. And that's actually what led to a decline of religion, or the sidelining of a religion from the public sphere, etc. But we say, no, that's not enlightenment. Enlightenment is when you follow the revelation. Enlightenment is, and the truth is, if your revelation is true, it will never contradict your rationality. It will never contradict your rationality. It will never contradict a sound mind, or sound rational conclusions, even that we draw from physical things. It will not contradict that. But following revelation is not astraneness or error. It's not being lost, nor is it following fairy tales. It's truth. And in fact, it's the best representation of truth, because it comes from a being that's all-knowing. And that's something important to understand. The disbelievers will say, when they find themselves in the hellfire, then they will admit, we said to the messengers, you know what, you guys were lost. Allah didn't reveal anything to you. But the reality is that admission will come too late. But why I went to that whole thing is this: Allah mentions this reality to us, not just so that we can say, oh, ha ha ha, people's going to be in the hellfire. Look at you fools. No. Allah, there's lesson for us to derive from this. For me as an individual Muslim living in the world that I live in, there's a lesson for me to derive from this. What message is there for me to derive? That when people mock at my following of revelation, or when people don't understand it, then I shouldn't be quick to feel inferior or take their criticism to heart. There will come a day when in fact they will lament the fact that they denied that revelation. So before even thinking of giving into that, I should reassess the claim. Is their claim true or is their claim false? In fact, the very next verse says what? How will they continue lamenting what they did in this dunya? وَقَالُوا literally, and they said. That the first one started قَالُوا. This is carrying on from there. وَقَالُوا, and they said, but we know again it's future, right? وَقَالُوا, and they will say. What will they say? لَوْ كُنَّا نَسْمَعُ. لَوْ كُنَّا نَسْمَعُ. What does لَوْ mean? لَوْ is means if, yes. It's a harf shart. When I want to introduce a conditional sentence, لَوْ. What other particle can you use for this? Just to jog your memory. We just spoke about it a bit earlier. In, not inna, in. In also is a particle of introducing conditional sentence, but low is the other one. So, if kunna nasma'u. Kunna means what? Kunna is actually kana. It's kana with its ism attached to it, right? So it means we were. Kana means was. Kana, kanu, kanat, kunna, kunta, kuntum, kunti, kuntuma. Sorry, not kuntuma, kuntunna, kuntu, kunna. That's the one we have over here. So it means we were. But then it's followed. What comes after it is a present tense verb, isn't it? Nasma'u. Sami'a yasma'u means to hear. Nasma'u, we. Present tense, isn't it? We are hearing, isn't it? Sami'a, he heard. Yasma'u, he is hearing. So nasma'u will mean we are hearing. But now, how do we say we are hearing? When you have kana plus a present tense verb, then how does it translate? We translate it as a past continuous, used to. We used to hear. But now it's saying, لَوْ كُنَّا نَسْمَعُ. If we could hear, if we were hearing, if we could hear. So remember that, right? Kana plus a present tense makes it past continuous tense. Normally we translate it as used to. Here slightly different because of the law. If we could hear, or if we used to hear. If only we used to hear. Yeah, well, if only we could hear. أو نعقل. أو نعقل. Or, أو means or. نعقل. عقل يعقل, to use your عقل. If only we could hear, or we could rationalize, use our minds. So we have a condition. We said the law makes it the conditional sentence, right? So when we have a conditional sentence, we're looking for two parts: the conditional, or the condition rather, and then the response to the condition. If this, then that. Right? That's the structure of conditions. If this, then that. So we have the if this part. If only we could hear and we could use our brains. If only we could hear and we could rationalize. Then what? So the then what part comes here? ما كنا في أصحاب السعير. So, ما كنا. What does it literally mean? We were not. But now in a conditional sense, how do you understand? If we had done this, then we would not be. ما كنا, then we would not be. في أصحاب السعير في. Yeah, little means in, but you can translate it as amongst. We would not be في in or amongst أصحاب السعير. أصحاب is the plural of صاحب, a companion. ما كنا في, we would not, the في is حرف الجر, that's why we have أصحابي. We would not be amongst the companions of السعير. السعير means the blazing fire. ما كنا في أصحاب السعير. So what are they saying here? They're saying, if only we could hear and we could use our intellect, ما كنا في أصحاب السعير, then we would not be from the companions of the hellfire. We would not find ourselves here amongst the inmates of Jahannam. But what was the claim that they made before this? They ridiculed the messengers. They say, ما نزل الله من شيء إن أنتم إلا في ضلال كبير. Allah didn't reveal anything. You guys are in clear error. Now they say, if only we had used our ears, if only we had used our minds, then we would not be from the companions of the blazing fire. Okay, that's very loud. We thank Him, we praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, if you're going to take it out, then this mic's also going to go. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala I think so. In this masjid in this time, oh, you can try? The Shaykh Mubarak, the blessed man, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala days upon you and and this moment, and you and I are present to witness the nikah of Junaid to Nabila. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless this union. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed that they follow the path of Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and collectively they would find Allah Jalla Jalaluhu, inshallah. Yeah, that, you can do that. Start our proceedings this morning. We ask Honorable Sheikh Abu Bakr to start to read the Quran. No, that's fine. Daniel. Still super loud, it's still super loud. Daniel, can you maybe just try and unplug that side? You just didn't you pull out the plug?
I played with the wire. It's not
oh yeah, they don't use something.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تكونوا
Okay, that's fine. But now they recite the Quran, we must listen. There's quite a few things that I wanted to point out in this verse. They made a claim, or they admitted to something that they said to the messengers, right? They ridiculed the messengers. They said Allah didn't reveal anything, as if they were stupid people, as if the messengers were stupid people for following what they call to be revelation. But then the response is, if only we had heard and we could understand, we could use our brains and we could comprehend things, then we wouldn't find ourselves amongst the inmates of the hellfire, amongst the people of the hellfire. Now, here there's two things that they mention. They single out sama and aql. Sama and aql. And it's very interesting because that basically summarizes a means of assessment of all types of information. Either it's testimony, which is used for all types of historic information or future claims that can be attached to a certain source, and it also refers to the assessment of any type of claim. For example, if there's an event in history, something happened historically, and I want to know about that with some level of certainty, how do I come to know about it? With some level, with certainty I'm speaking about. Somebody that was there must tell me. You know, you may think that I can find some remnants of certain things and I can piece together a story, but that pieced together story is not going to give you certain information. At the end of the day, it's going to be your conjecture. In fact, not just somebody that witnessed it must tell me, a large group of people must witness the same thing, and then I'll have certainty in what was reported. But that's how I come to have certainty in historic information. But then on the other hand, some types of knowledge is not necessarily historic. There's things that I can know now. I run experiments, I want to know something about trees using oxygen or something like that. How do we come to know about things like that? We do science, we use a scientific method. We run experiments, we use empirical information. But generally, empirical information never gives you certainty. And if you study, alhamdulillah, I studied a bit of statistics. So in statistics, you learn about experimentation and experimental models, etc., and how you can derive information therefrom. But generally, you can run as good an experiment as possible, but it's still maybe only going to give you 99% certainty in your conclusion. Not going to give you 100% certainty in your conclusion. But generally, still, for all practical purposes, we'll use that information as correct. If science tells us plants require oxygen to live, or any other scientific fact, you can think of anything. If science tells us something like that, then as religious people, we accept that. We have no contradiction. We have no problem with that. In fact, we say that Allah exhorted us to use our senses of perception to come to know about His creation. Whenever Allah speaks about His creation, Allah doesn't tell us, believe this. Allah tells us rather, look into the creation, ponder about the creation, etc., etc. Right? But then there's other types of claims as well, purely theoretical claims. I can't use empirical information for that. For example, any mathematical truth, you can't use, there's no physical, mathematics doesn't have any physical reality. Mathematics only exists in our minds. What's one? Have you ever thought about it? What is the number one? One is just a concept. You can cut out the biggest number one in the world and show me, that's not number one. That's just a symbol that indicates to the idea of the concept of one. Right? And so it's the same with every number. In fact, the whole of mathematics is just a rational science. Right? So this aql is a means of us assessing that type of information as well. Right? And you can go beyond that, philosophical realities. Realities of things that are not perceptible to our senses, or are not perceptible. For example, do angels exist? Can you test that claim with your... Well, I shouldn't use that one rather. Does Allah exist? Can I assess that claim with my sense of perception? Allah is in the ghaib, so I can't touch, smell, see, hear physically. Right? But I can rationally conclude that Allah exists. I can conclude, there are things in existence. They are all contingent existences. They don't exist intrinsically in and of themselves. Therefore, there must be a cause that brought them about. And that cause must be uncaused. Because otherwise I'm going to have a never-ending chain of contingent existences, for example. Right? So I can rationally conclude that there must be an all-powerful being that always existed, was not created. Right? With certain other things. The aql can lead to, is a means of assessment of such philosophical realities. Right? And then also, if I have claims of perhaps physical things but are not perceptible, like the existence of angels, I'll never just use my mind and conclude that angels exist. If Revelation didn't tell me that angels exist, I would never believe that angels exist. Because what do angels do? Angels do things that Allah could have done Himself anyways. Right? So, how do I come to assert that type of information? I come to assert that type of information by depending upon historical information as well. So all types of information can be categorized into what is known through testimony and what is known through comprehension of claims in some way. Whether it is a perceptible claim or whether it is a claim of something that's not perceptible. It's something that's either an abstract matter or it's something of the unseen. And there's different means of assessment in all of them. But generally, the faculties of one's rationality and of hearing, more importantly than sight actually, is what allows me to assess those claims. And that's what's very profound that they say, when they find themselves in the hellfire, if only we could hear, assess that testimonial type of information, or we could understand and comprehend and assess claims. ما كنا في أصحاب السعير. If you look at atheists today, if you look at atheism, there's no, atheism makes a claim. The claim is that God does not exist. That is a claim that requires proof as much as the claim that God does exist. In fact, it requires more proof than the claim that God does exist. Because in the claim of God does exist, we at least have the history of humankind testifying to that always. The original state is that human beings generally accept that as a reality. Most people have thought of it as a reality that doesn't even require proof. Right? But atheism also makes a claim that requires proof. But ask atheists for their proof for the fact that God doesn't exist. You would imagine that in a world where, atheism is growing so much and it seems to be more rational, you would imagine that they have more proof. And that it's actually us that have less proof. I can list you proofs for the existence of Allah. I can list you a teleological proof, or ontological proof, another ontological proof. I can list you a modological